Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. We are diving right in today. New updates on the whole Harry Meghan situation. If you haven't watched my other video, which is about Meghan on the red carpet in the red dress. It was not even a red carpet, it was a green carpet. But go watch that so you're completely up to date on the whole Harry and Meghan thing if you are not already completely up to date. I did put a timestamp in that video to skip over the introduction and explanation if you want, and go right to the reading. Some interesting stuff came out of that reading that I did yesterday. And since then, I've kind of learned some new information, which has me kind of curious. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. There we go. So a couple of things. Meghan and Harry have both been exceptionally quiet, way quieter than they usually are about anything. So that's a little bit weird, especially Harry. Nothing sort of coming out of his camp. The belief is that he is still actually in South Africa, possibly with the Spencer family. Of course, this is all allegedly speculation for entertainment purposes only. I'm just sitting here playing with pretty cards and, getting downloads and information that may or may not mean anything to anyone. So he did leave the country. He went to New York first, then he went to, I believe, London for an event, the charity event. And then he went to Lesotho. I think that's how you say the country. It's a country in Africa. And some very astute royal commentator managed to find out that Lesotho has a very effective extradition policy with the United States of America. And so he was only there for a very brief time and then left and went to South Africa. So the question today is Harry on the run? And you might be asking, well, why would Harry be on the run? Well, besides running from his wife, who is obviously a hardcore narcissist and has really caused him a lot of problems. If you're not sure about that, she has actually pulled him from his own family and isolated him from his friends and family from his life. There's red flag number one. If you don't know much about narcissism, that's usually one of the things that a narcissist will try to do quickly is isolate you from everybody else who might spot things and might make you aware of some behaviors that aren't potentially so cool. And people say, yeah, but he's a grown man. Like, yeah, narcissists are very slick. They are so slick. And you sometimes don't even know you're in a relationship with one until you're so entangled that it's hard to get out. So, and then by that point, you're probably trauma bonded, and then it's not even just a physical exit you need to do, but an emotional exit that really needs to happen, and it takes a lot of work to heal that. So, I don't really fault him for falling for, everything that's gone on, even though he is a grown man. But at the same time, I think now that he's had a little bit of space away from it all for a couple weeks, he should be seeing things a little bit more clearly. And so a couple things have come up recently that add to the information that I have about Harry and Meghan. And it is really interesting. So go back a couple weeks to the attempted assassination on Donald Trump. The man who was arrested has connections to Harry. Another commentator dug deep and found these connections. Their lives have overlapped. You can do your own research on that. But another interesting thing is the chef that they have for, I guess, their jam company. I don't really know what this company is. I don't really care, but I think it's a jam company. So there is a photograph of the chef with this man who tried to assassinate Donald Trump. So there's two connections to the Sussexes that look a little sus. Look at, like, would be worth questioning, perhaps. A little looky poo to see, is there something more to this? And then, of course, there is the whole P. Diddy thing. And this obviously P. Diddy is sitting in jail right now, but there is a documentary apparently coming out about Sean Combs something, and somebody had posted, oh, I think it was NT, the entertainment lawyer. He had posted something along the lines of Meghan and Harry will be, fleeing like cockroaches when this documentary comes out. So that was kind of an interesting thing. And NT tends to be pretty astute when it comes to these sorts of things. I don't think he puts out blinds that aren't close to the truth. So we'll see what happens there. But that's interesting that there's some connections, which not only would Harry be fleeing his wife to maybe try to get out of this, which I personally think is their sort of getting the world used to the fact that they're not going to be together anymore. In my last reading, there were some dates that indicated when we might see some things coming up. So definitely check out that video. It's in the playlist, so you'll be able to grab it easily. And the playlist is called Celebrity Gossip, I think. And so this could mean that the police might have some questions for Harry. And so the question really boils down to, is he on the run? Has he left America? And yes, he has, but has he fled? That is maybe a better question. So I think this is them introducing their separation, doing a sort of the soft launch of their separation to see how the world reacts to them working separately and being separate all the time. And then in the new year, there'll be some other stuff happening. So if you want to hear about that, go to the last reading about Meghan on the red carpet in the red dress, and see where Harry's energy is in regards to that. And so today we're going to have a look at whether or not he has actually fled the country, as opposed to simply traveling and doing his thing and cosplaying at being a working royal and all that kind of stuff. So we'll give the cards a good shuffle and see what happens. And I'm working on not having big, long intros. My last video was a 12-minute introduction to the topic, but I did that just in case anybody wasn't up to date on what was going on. So that will be the video that I point everybody to when it comes to this particular topic, so that you can get caught up without me having to repeat myself. Ooh, the cards are spicy today. Yes, they are. Okay, what have we got here? Temperance. Oh. And reverse. And for these readings, I do read reversals. Whereas if I was with a client, I wouldn't, because we know what the energy is in relation to the situation. But for these readings, I'm reading reversals. Well then, oh my gosh. Okay, so we have our first card here. I'm just going to pop my cards to the side here. Our first card here is Temperance. And what I do love to do is look up the timings of these cards, which is how we knew that what would be happening next year when it comes to these two. So the timing of this card, Temperance, is November 23rd to December 21st. So yeah. This is this card is about balance, obviously, and caution. And because it's reversed, that means that we've got a lack of balance. His life is out of balance right now. It's out of control right now. I would hate to be on the inside of all of that. And there's definitely a caution message attached to this card, and I think he's proceeding without caution. Really, it's about a lack of moderation, a lack of tranquility, a lack of harmonious relationships. So that he doesn't have a harmonious relationship with any of his family on the royal side. We know that, and that's probably, I know that he was still friendly and close with the York girls, though I don't think their titles are York anymore. But anyway, that's besides the point. But he was friendly with them, but we haven't really seen much about him seeing anybody in his family lately. So I definitely think his life is feeling very much out of control right now. And now that he's away from Meghan and traveling, he's getting a more of a bird's eye view of what's going on. And then our second card is Judgment. Let me just look up this for timing here. No timing, so this is right now. Right now, whenever we have a card that doesn't have a timing attached to it, we read it as right now or before you're ready. And so this tells me that he's waking up to this. He's seeing a new awareness of this situation. He's seeing it with new eyes. Because he's had a break. He's being able to see what his life feels like without her. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 weeks that he's been traveling, and apparently he's not taking her calls. That's kind of interesting. Allegedly, this is for entertainment purposes only. And it's definitely waking up to a situation. So this is letting me know that he's using this time away to wake up to this. He may also have been made aware of criminal questions that maybe different levels of police might have for him, but because he's not an American citizen, you know, I don't know if they can just order him back. I don't know what the extradition policy is with South Africa. He may be globetrotting, going from country to country to country to avoid having to answer any questions about Diddy or this Trump assassination. This, like, I never in a million years thought I would put Diddy, Prince Harry, and an assassination in the same sentence, but here we are. Again, for entertainment purposes only. So this is definitely about something, the truths and awarenesses coming up in a relationship. So there's a whole bunch of relationships involved here, and I think that he's really seeing the relationship with Meghan with fresh eyes, and he's had a minute. When you see pictures of him, he doesn't look happy on this trip. Like, he looks like a man who is really thinking about his life. And of course, his family, like, where does he go? It's not like he can leave this marriage and then just go back to London and, you know, be taken back into the fold. He has to get through William. Charles might be like, yeah, we'll take you back, we'll make you a working royal, do your thing. But William might be like, no, pal, the damage is done. You did what you did, and we're not interested anymore. Because he really has damaged the reputation of himself and the crown and the royal family. Because, you know, there was not only just his own behavior, but then all the accusations that they made as well. And we don't know if any of them are true or not. We don't know if they're a little bit true, but embellished. We don't know if they're flat out lies. We don't know if they're fully true. But it did a lot of damage. And I think that Oprah interview was sort of the moment that the royal family was like, yeah, we're done. That's it. We are done. And so yeah, that's there's a lot going on there for him right now. This is, of course, we're looking at his energy, and the question on the table is he on the run? Has he fled America? So our death card, again, we're going to look up the timing of this one. October 23rd to November 22nd. So coming up. So interesting that this is all this year. Like, these are cards that are coming up. And this tells me that there's a lot of fear coming up. Now, our death card really, like, if it's upright, it just means transformation and transitions, change. You know, an old part of you dies off so the new you can, you know, come to the surface, endings, the death of something that doesn't serve you so that something new can be born. And, you know, I always, whenever this card comes up, I think of my paternal grandmother, and she died when I was just a few days old. So it literally was like one in, one out. It was so crazy, but that sort of something dies so something new can excel and come to the surface. And I think through this, he's really going to struggle. I think I don't know if he's going to learn anything from this experience. I just don't know. It's fear of starting over. It's fear of repeating the big mistakes that he's made. He could just literally be stuck, just stuck, not knowing what to do. I mean, we know he's not that smart. So he may be trying to, figure out what to do. He would certainly be laying the groundwork with the Spencers because he's close to them. But this is, normally we would say this is a chapter ending. What is coming through is that it's going to be a long, drawn out, painful ending. There's so much on the line here for him and what he's, tangled himself up with, because he's, if he's leaving Meghan or if they've split up, then they've got to go through a very public royal divorce like that. We've seen them before. And I don't care that he's not, a working royal or, whatever. He's still a prince. He's still famous. His mother was the most famous person in the world ever. So he can't escape that. And as much as he tries to lean into that, it's not working. It's not landing for people. I think we're sick of him making up stories about his mother. He was 12 years old when she died. And he keeps romanticizing her and keeps speaking as though he knew her. And I can tell you that, I have a son who's a teenager, and when he was 12, he had no clue about me. He really didn't know, he could not have been able to predict anything that I would do outside of our family life. He could predict that if he did something stupid, I might be kind of upset and annoyed and yell at him a little bit. But, I'm an Aries, so my bark is way worse than my bites. So I definitely can get spicy at times. But this, if I was looking at this upright in a reading, with a client, I would say, a really difficult period of your life is coming to a close. In his case, I think it is coming to a close, but it's going to be long. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be painful. It's going to be dramatic. And he's going to be kind of getting it from both ends, from the Meghan end and from the royal end. I think I think it's just going to be ugly. We do know that he's out, like from the last reading, the Meghan on the red carpet reading, we do know he's out, like that. He's checked out. Whether he's, actually like physically checked out of this and this is what this traveling is about, we don't know, but it's definitely he's emotionally and mentally checked out of this whole thing. Like he's done. All right, so what do we have here? Two of Cups. Yeah. A Two of Cups in reverse. It's done. Again, it's just so done. There's just no two ways about it. This relationship is done. And it's ended. They're not together romantically anymore. They have business entanglements. They have children, if these children exist. We don't know. There's a lot of talk about that, whether these children actually exist. But definitely there's this relationship is done. And what do we have here? The Four of Wands, which would normally be a celebration card. No, there is no joy. No joy at all for these people, especially Harry. This is like unhappy family. This is like leaving home, not fitting in. I mean, he left one home and now has left another home. He doesn't fit in either place. Of course, that's what this is. This, it's about like instability, which we know he is. He's unstable. I don't think he's like, I don't think it's pathology. I think it's just that he's not good at making decisions. I mean, I can imagine growing up in a royal family and people make all your decisions for you. I'm guessing you probably don't have an awful lot of control in your life. You're told where to be, when to be, how to behave, everything that goes along with that. And, so he's probably feeling a lot of instability now that he's on his own, even for a few weeks, and perhaps having to make some of his own decisions. We also know from other commentators that they're terrible at making decisions, which is why they flit from thing to thing to thing and never actually see anything to completion, or at least to success. So that's going on. And then there's always, this is like an uprooting energy, like nobody's cheering for this guy. Nobody's nobody's really rooting for him. This is definitely in reverse a divorce card. This is the breakup of a marriage. So these two cards, yeah, I'm going to say it's totally done. But we'll see if the cards will let us know if he has actually fled. And this is, it's obviously he's very lonely because he allowed himself to be isolated from his friends and family. So he doesn't have anything really to return to. And that's a really sad place to be. So let's try again. We have the sun, and let's look up the timing of the sun. Isn't it fascinating to be able to pull up the timing of these cards? Like, I just love that. Love that. And I have this book that I write all my notes in for cards. So as I come up with something new for a card, or if some new information comes in, it definitely gets added into my book. Actually, I'll show you right here what it kind of looks like. There you go. See, it's got all kinds of notes in it. And so our sun, interesting to see this here. He needs to do a lot of healing. The sun is definitely about healing, giving himself space and time to heal and nurture his own self. And I think that he's going to be away for a while before there's any forward movement, because this is about giving yourself time to grieve. This is about giving yourself time to grieve before moving on to anything else. So it's something that you just can't avoid, this healing work that needs to be done, because it will take you out at the knees if you don't do it intentionally and lean into it. It's about renewal, and this card often shows up when somebody's been through something really, really hard and really challenging and painful and difficult, and they need to rebuild their life. So yeah, no shiz. Of course, he's got a lot of work ahead of him. Fortunately, he's only 40. So, maybe in 10 years, this will all be just a distant memory, and he will have rebuilt his life, rebuilt his relationships, and be able to actually do what he was born to do, which is be a royal. And we have the Hierophant. This, and there's no timing on the sun card, by the way. This is, so right now, or before he's ready. So the Hierophant, April 21st to May 20th. Again, go back to the last reading, the Meghan on the red carpet, and there's a bunch of dates in there that lead up to this information. So this is quite interesting where this is falling. And it's about tradition. It's about tradition. It's about government. It's about spiritual leaders. It is about seeking guidance from a religious figure. This traditionally was a religious card. It's a marriage card. It's an institution card. So this is government. One of the questions that came up with one of the royal commentators is the idea that Harry has fled America because there's a great chance that Donald Trump is going to be elected president. And I believe Trump has promised that he will deport Harry if he's elected. So I think maybe that's one thing. I think that Harry knows that Donald Trump is coming for him. And maybe he's gotten ahead of it and gotten out of there before, because the election's in less than a month now. Like, oh my gosh, what's today? The 10th? Oh. So in a few weeks, we will actually know who the president is. Oh my goodness. There we go. So it's definitely, if we look at the rest of this and say, Harry's taking some time to deal with himself and heal himself, then this is a really good card to see here. It's about looking for answers. It's about spiritual intuition, personal development, and the message for this card is always that you need to work on you before everything else. So this is about taking the time to work on you. So I'm hoping that this time away, first of all, he's seeing all of this with new eyes and he's seeing what's going on. But I also hope that maybe he gets some therapy to help him process what is probably a trauma bond, and also the abuse that he will have been enduring for the last few years. And we know it's allegedly for entertainment purposes, but we know, okay? So this is definitely uh, a journey of self-development for him. And we're definitely seeing the government, we're seeing institution. Interesting. So this is, oh, just what came in is like finding comfort in the institution. The royal family is an institution. And I think, as I said before in my last video, I think he wants to return to his life as a working royal. It's what he knows. It's what's comfortable. It's what he grew up in. It would be an easy role for him to just slide into, but he does have to get past his brother. That definitely is a whole vibe on its own. And we have the Knight of Wands. And this is our giddy up guy, our Knight of Wands. Yeah, he's definitely on a grand adventure. This is a very energetic card. It's lots of enthusiasm, forward movement, things like this. It's about ambitions. I think he's almost kind of delusional right now. So I'm not getting the sense that he is on the run. I don't think he's smart enough to realize maybe he should be on the run. I think he's off on a grand adventure, and he just thinks this is quite exciting, and you know, a little passion project for him, while at the same time having to deal with a lot of stuff. It's a very hasty energy. It's a spicy, fiery energy. So he may be making some abrupt decisions that might not serve him as well as he would like. But definitely being in reverse, it's arrogant. It's reckless and arrogant. It's a little, you know what? It's a little overconfident and show-offy. And that's what we've seen over the last couple of weeks with all of his nonsense. And he's trying to copy things that other members of the royal family are doing to sort of get his name in the press and stuff like that. So there's definitely an arrogance to it. I don't think perhaps it's quite sunk in for him that he's kind of alone in the world right now at this moment. He can fix things. He should make an attempt at fixing things, but he definitely is feeling alone. And I would bet that if he would be honest about his feelings and what he's experiencing right now, it would be that he's a bit lost. It's a bit lost. He's doing things, again, he's like doing this cosplaying at being a working royal, but that's not what he is at this moment. So it's not really landing as well as he might think, but there is this arrogance, like he can just return to that. And finally, we have the Lovers. The Lovers. Let's have a look at the timing of our sweet couple here. And of course, it's in reverse. So a lot of reverse cards today. And the timing for that is next spring. So that, again, lines up with what we were talking about in the last video. And being in reverse, it's disharmony. There's a lot of trust issues, imbalance, one-sidedness. No kidding. No kidding. One-sidedness in that relationship. And if this was upright, we would always be like, we know what we need to do, and that is commitment. We need to commit to the relationship and work on the relationship from a place of love and commitment. Because it's reversed, we know that hasn't happened. We know, I suspect that this relationship has been a business arrangement and not actually a love match. I think that they were put together by certain entities and assigned a mission, and that's what they're trying to do. So that, but you know, you ever get paired up with somebody at work and you can't stand them and it's like really, really difficult. So this separation rumors, they could be getting put out by Harry and Meghan to make people talk about them, little clickbait stuff. But definitely this is about a lack of commitment. And we know that because they don't commit to anything. And this could even indicate that they're not actually really truly committed to each other, because if you remember at their wedding, they went off to another room. So for those of you who don't know yet, I'm a minister. I go to a lot of weddings. We sign the paperwork in front of everybody. We have a little table to the side of the altar or wherever people stood to get married, and we sign the paperwork in front of everybody. At their wedding, they went off to a separate room, supposedly to sign paperwork, but then didn't it come out in the Oprah interview that they actually got married prior to their big wedding day? So they got married in secret, which means they could have made that up too. That might not be true. They might not be married at all. And seeing this like lack of commitment, it could be that they're not married at all, which would fit into the idea that this is a business arrangement and not an actual like marriage. So I don't know if we've seen a marriage certificate for them. I'm not sure, but maybe someone will dig one up. But there we go. And we're going to pull one more just to see. 7 of Swords, sneaky, sneaky, sneaky energy. Such sneaky energy. And I'm going to see if we have timing on this too, because this card is quite an interesting card. So our 7 of Swords is always the sneaky energy, deception, lies, trickery. Reversed, it's about turning a new leaf. It's about coming clean, confessing. It's about getting caught. Interesting. I think that if Harry sits there in South Africa and thinks about this enough, he'll realize that he may be getting caught in stuff, and he may have been outsmarted in all of this, and people have caught on, like moms sitting at their dining tables have caught on to what's going on. So surely there's a bunch of stuff coming out. I think that he definitely wants to turn over a new leaf and wants to fix this, return to a life that feels good to him. Because like I said, like if you look at him, when he's out in events, he doesn't look happy at all. He really looks quite miserable. But then the last couple of weeks, he looks quite happy. He looks comfortable. He looks like he's much more relaxed than he's been for the last 4 or 5 years. So yeah, there we have it. No big, huge, strong message telling me that he has fled the country, but I'm not sure that he's quite clued into the fact that he might need to. So there you have it. What card I might have been looking for would be the 6 of Swords, to see what comes out. And what do we have on the bottom for our shadow card? The Magician. Pulling things out of thin air. Lots of skills and qualities. Interesting. Harry doesn't have skills and qualities. Sorry, everybody. He has gotten through life on his name and his mother's name, and he keeps bringing up his mother like he knew her. And I know he knew her for 12 years, but he never really knew her as an adult. So how would he know really what she was like? But so he's gotten by on his name, his relationships, his family, and his mother, and I think it's gonna come crashing down. I think we're gonna see in a few years, the number coming in is in 3 years, it'll be a whole new Harry. So we'll see what happens. Mark the date. Mark the date. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Avril, and I am a professional tarot reader, among other things. I'm not going to go through my whole spiel, but do me a solid, please, and subscribe. That really helps my channel. Click the like button. Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on all of this and what other things you may have heard that we haven't talked about here today. And I will see you in the next video.